the review going over polynomial division. I am going to show both long and synthetic division for the sake of the review, because I know I have some students who prefer one and some students who prefer the other. But remember, you can do long or synthetic for all of these, because synthetic will work anytime your divisor is a linear factor. And all of these are, like, what's being divided out here is just x. It's not x squared or x cubed. This is called a linear factor. And if I look at all of these, they are all linear factors. So I can do synthetic on all of these. I can do long division on all of these. I told y'all when we do synthetic and our a value, this value right here in the divisor, the coefficient of x, if it's something other than 1, synthetic division has an extra step. Okay, so some people choose to do long division if that a value is other than 1, and synthetic if it's an understood 1. Okay, so I'm going to start with number 9. I'm going to do it with long division since that a value is not 1. Okay, just to review the long division process. So when we do long division, we set up our dividend goes inside. So that's the 4x squared minus 24x plus 35. And then my divisor goes outside, and I keep it in parentheses. And then remember, we are dividing one term at a time. So we're looking at the lead term of the dividend and the divisor. Okay, and that was already, it was x squared, x constant. It was in standard form, no placeholders needed. I should have asked you that before I set it up to have you double check. You should always double check that, but I went ahead and wrote it because I realized that already. So off to the side, I'm going to ask myself, what is 4x squared divided by 2x? What does that give me? 2x. Now I line up my terms by degree. So it's an x term. It's going to be lined up on the quotients, where the quotient goes above the x term. So above the 24x. So I'm going to put 2x here. Then I am going to multiply and distribute that to the 2x and the minus 5. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Then I'm going to subtract. I draw my line and change my sign. So the 4x squareds eliminate to a 0, and negative 24 plus 10 is negative 14x. And then I bring down my next term. Which is plus 35. And that's the end of that one cycle. And now I repeat it. I do it again with the minus 14x. So I ask myself off to the side here, what is negative 14x divided by 2x? And that's negative 7. So that lines up on the top above the constant, so minus 7. Now that gets distributed. I multiply. Negative 7 times 2x is negative 14x. Negative 7 times negative 5 is plus 35. And then I draw my line and change my sign because I'm subtracting. So both of those terms eliminate to have a remainder of 0. So remember, your quotient is on top, and then your remainder is what's left here. If it's something other than 0, remember you write quotient plus your remainder over your divisor. That's how we're going to write our answers. Here, there is no remainder, so we don't have to do that last little part. We just write out the quotient, which is 2x minus 7. So I'm going to put a little side note here. this process, this cycle that you just keep repeating in long division, if it is helpful to you, the long division process is this. We did, first we divided in orange here. So we divided. Then once we divided, we multiplied. See how we multiplied that 2x by the divisor? And then once we did that, we subtracted. We drew our line and changed our sign. We subtracted. And then we brought down the next term. And then we repeated the cycle. So if it's helpful to you, that long division process always goes in that order. Divide, multiply, subtract, drop down, repeat. Divide, multiply, subtract, drop down, repeat. Okay, if that's helpful to you to see it that way. Okay. You have a question? Yeah. Okay, let's do one more. Even though the A value is an understood one, I know I can do synthetic here. I'm going to do one more practice with long division with y'all, and then we'll do synthetic for the rest because I think that's quicker and easier. But I'll just show this process one last time with long division. So the long division process, I'm going to put my dividend, that's what's on top there. So 2x cubed plus 5x squared. Now notice there's no x term here, is there? It goes from x squared to a constant, so I'm going to need a placeholder for my x term, and then I can have my constant. Very important that you double check and make sure that if you need placeholders, you put them there. All right, and then my divisor is x plus 3. So I'm going to go through this process. The first step is divide. And remember, I'm starting with the lead. Ooh. Highlight. The leading term of both the dividend and the divisor. So that is 2x cubed divided by x. What does that give me? 2x squared. So I line that up above the x squared term. Now I multiply, because that's the next step here. So I multiply that 2x squared times the x. That was supposed to be purple. Please work. There we go. So I multiply. Oh my gosh, and now here we go, purple finally. By the x and by the 3. So 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. And 2x squared times 3 is 6x squared. Then the next step is subtract. So this is the one where I say draw your line and change your sign. So these are both being subtracted. So the 2x cubes eliminate, and I've got 5 minus 6, that's negative 1x squared. I don't have to put a 1. A 1 is understood, right? So just negative x squared. And then I'm ready to bring down the next term, which is 0x in this case. And now I'm ready to repeat. So now I'm starting with negative x squared. What is negative x squared divided by x? It's just negative x. So I put minus x. And notice it has to line up over the x term. If I didn't have my placeholder there, I'd be kind of messed up. So I've got negative x, and I'm going to distribute. Negative x times x would be negative x squared. Negative x times 3 would be negative 3x. Now I'm going to draw my line and change my sign. I'm subtracting. So that's going to become plus, plus, which eliminates the x squareds and leaves me with a positive 3x. And then I drop down my next term, which is plus 9. And I'm ready to repeat. So now I'm looking at 3x. So 3x divided by x is just 3, positive 3, so plus 3. So then I multiply, so I distribute that and get 3x plus 9. Draw my line and change my sign. Those both get subtracted, so both eliminate for a remainder of 0. So again, for these first two division problems, I didn't have a remainder. So my quotient is simply 2x squared minus x plus 3. Feeling a little bit better about long division? All right. I'm actually going to stop this video here. This was a nice short one in my neck because our bell's about to ring in just a few minutes. Y'all can keep working until the bell, but I think it would cut me off in the middle of the video. So I'd like to separate it here with long division, and then the next video will be synthetic division. Okay.